What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Vicktory Life Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Dwight Vick, owner and founder of Vicktory Life. And part of this episode, we are sitting down with some great kids and a phenomenal, legendary coach and player. We're sitting here doing this episode. I'm interviewing Menchville's head basketball coach, Coach Strothers. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
Oh, man, it's an honor. I'm doing great, man. It's Sunday. I'm interviewing you and your great team. I look up before I hit record. I saw the Cowboys were losing. So as we
Hold
record
on,
this,
dog. Hold on, man. I thought this podcast was about Menchville.
it is. It
Okay.
is. It
Okay.
is. Coach, before we get started with you, I want to go around and get introduce your players, man. So Jordan, as we mentioned, introduce yourself, name, year, and position.
Jordan Watlington, class of 24, and I'm a wing at Michigan High School.
Nice. Okay. James.
I'm James Powell. I play forward and I'm class 2024.
Right. Okay. And Bryce.
I'm Bryce Watlington, class of 2024, and I'm a forward.
Nice. Okay. So we got three seniors, so we got some experience, man. Coach, I mentioned to you as we set this thing up, I saw you on the Kirk and Bird show last year or a year and a half ago when it aired. I knew of you. You're a legend in the PD in the 757. Also, you had a great career, which we'll touch on, man. Being a coach, man, you've learned a lot of life lessons. Every season is different, man. So far, how has this season gone, and how are your players focused on meeting those expectations so far?
So this year, we've been hit with some challenges. Bryce is injured. We had some situations going on with Jordan, and so we met a few challenges. We had with a few injuries and so forth. So and we've been rising to the challenge. We lost one game because of I think there were some distractions that caught us off guard that second game, I believe, and then then we just lost Woodside the other day, because we weren't fully staffed as far as our players. Just to know, I don't list any of my guys as forwards. All my guys are guards to me. So because I make everybody try to handle the ball. They may list guard forward, but for the most part, I list them all as guards. But as far as meeting the challenges, meeting the goals, we're getting there. It was a senior heavy team last year, and some of these guys are new to the fire. So we're going to have a few growing pains early, and we'll get there. We're definitely getting there. We're starting to turn the corner a little bit. We got to get once we get back to everybody, I think it'll take pressure off some of the new guys or the younger guys.
Absolutely. Coach, I had a basketball preview on a 5-part series where we interviewed Jason Wade, who's a forward at ODU, Eddie Jackson, who played at South Lakes. He coached at American for 16 years, had some Woodson on here, Eric Brown, who you're very familiar with, Hampton High, him and his point guard. And I asked this question to different coaches and players. Everybody has a different philosophy. Coming into this season after a great run last year, where you fell short of your goals but still had a remarkable season, what did you do in the offseason to get your team ready? Did you do a fall league, summer league? Did you guys just do workouts? What did you do? Or is every year different?
The workouts are pretty much the same, as far as, it just changes, as far as the level and intensity, according to the players. We played in two live periods. One in Northern Virginia and one in North Carolina. And we did well in both. We played in Norfolk State, team camp. We played in Virginia Wesleyan team camp. And, I don't normally play a lot, like in the fall and things like that. Normally it's for development and so forth. But this year, because of some of the younger players, we played more in the fall, late summer in the fall than we normally do, because you just got to get them game ready, get them up to speed, get used to the speed of the game. But other than that, pretty much, we kind of curve the workout sometimes according to the skill level, but we still challenge them, and try to challenge them in certain things we do.
No doubt. Yeah. Let me talk some of the players, man. Jordan, I'll start with you, man. All you guys are seniors, which, we talked before we went live. Well, not live, but I had to record this episode. I talked about some of the players, including my own son who's a senior. Seniors have a unique perspective because whether you've been at Menchville all 4 years, whatever, you've been around the program for quite some time. For you, what are your expectations for yourself individually? And I know the season's already started, but what are your goals this season?
Man, my goal is just to help lead the team, get where we need to be, get us playoff ready, game ready every day. Some players are new, they're young, and I've been there longer than they have. So I'm just trying to get them prepared and ready for what's upcoming.
Yeah. When you talk about getting prepared, one thing I see with players is, some guys, their sophomore and junior year, they may come off the bench and maybe a role player or they may be a starter, but they might be the third or fourth option. And then all of a sudden, when you become a full-time starter or a leader, the expectations change. You talk about leading. What kind of leadership style do you have? Are you vocal? Are you a mix of lead by example? Are you, challenging guys, get in their face, or what is your style?
I'm becoming more vocal. I had a problem with that like a couple years ago. I won't because it had leaders on the team already. So I'm stepping into the role of being more vocal and open and telling the guys like just pushing them at practice, pushing them workouts, just trying to get them where they need to be at the time.
Nice. Nice. All right, James, I'll go to you, man. Similar questions, senior, what kind of perspective do you have? What are your individual and team goals?
Definitely to help lead the team to the ultimate goal of a state championship, but also stepping into that role for past years, been kind of coming off the bench, like you said, and now I'm senior, embracing the role of like leader, senior, and also like trying to prepare guys for what the varsity level is like, especially these young guys, like whether it's mentally, physically, or just any of that, because it's a big transition, definitely.
Yeah. You mentioned state championship, and I was talking to you guys while we were getting ready to go live with this thing and record about last year, how y'all were really in a great groove and making a run, and you fell short. Speaking on that now, being one of the guys, you talk about winning the state championship. What does that mean for Menchville? Not so much winning the championship, but what do you and your teammates have to do? Because a lot of the kids, when they get on my pod or I talk to them in the hallway or wherever at the gym, they're like, yeah, we're trying to win that chip, but they don't understand the necessary components that you have to do in and day out. So what has coach and his staff really instilled in you, and what do you guys have to do to get over that hump and make it happen this year?
Definitely unity. We have to be a team. We have to be together is a big thing that I think coaches instilled in us, and we got to be able to play together and give 100% effort no matter the circumstances. Even with early season struggles like adversity, we have to face it, come and meet it, and not back down from it at all.
Yeah, that's a great answer. That's true because I always marvel, like football is like such a quick season, and then basketball, man, like it's December as we record this, and then you still have the rest of this month, and then you have January and then February, then you start getting to district and regionals. Next thing you know, it's March. So a lot of teams and things are going to take shape. Bryce,
Definitely.
I talked to you before we hit record, and I was talking about your jerseys, and you
Yeah,
talked about some of the AU teams you play with. Just talk about what it's been like for you so far, the challenges and where you are right now.
it's been a journey. I still injured, just got injured at the Bethel game, my ankle, so I'm out till January 23rd, I think. And yeah, I just got back from a year injury from my knee. Yeah,
Mm.
it's been adversity, but it's God's plan. Better than anyone. So I just keep trusting Him.
Yeah, I knew of you, and I keep up, even though I'm up in the 703. I'm still a 757 guy, and I see different Facebook things, and my best friend is the head coach at Hampton, and he keeps up, and I heard about your injury, and I like how you say it's God's plan because a lot of kids sometimes feel upset about their circumstance, but you seem locked in, like you still ready to go when you're clear.
Of
How do
course.
you stay engaged? How do you stay engaged? being
At
that you
practice,
can't?
I still go to practice, still go to games, still talk to my teammates, trying to lead them, try to be a better role model, try to talk every time we mess up, try to help them. Yeah.
Is it hard though, like sitting there, like knowing, like, man, if I was out here, I would
Yeah,
get
yeah,
buckets.
of course. Like the Woodside game, I was so mad 'cause I just wanted to play. 'Cause I know
I
if me
know you did. I know
would
you did. That's
would
what
have
I'm
changed
saying.
that.
Like, what's that? I'm sorry.
We would have changed like that score. Would have changed that game. But it's God's plan. I just gotta be patient.
And you said January, right? January
January
26th,
23rd. Yeah.
23rd. I apologize. Okay. Coach, you have a distinct role. You're part of a great legacy of phenomenal Peninsula District coaches. You're talking about a district that features great programs, state championship winners, Hall of Fame coaches. You and I talked about that a few weeks ago in preparing for this legacy podcast. Just talk about, you when you think about like your great playing career and you had a very good coaching career. How do you stay hungry and not just say, okay, yeah, I got to coach tonight? How do you stay connected and motivated to, get these guys to be the best version of themselves on and off the court?
Well, it's easy because you have guys that want it. So if you give me guys that want it, I give it to you, and then you just match my energy. We've been able to be successful in the past 6 years or going on 7 years now. And, and I don't mind saying on record, that, is if it wasn't for the injuries we had in the regional game last year, it would have been a different outcome. And and those injuries, just kind of, they snowball, and then we start cramping, and the guys were trying to figure out what's going on. You're trying to hold them together, But I told the guys again for the first 3.5 quarters, you still show who, well, 2.5 quarters, 2.5 quarters. So midway the third quarter, you still show who's the best team in the state. But when fate and destiny kicks in, it's nothing you can do about it, and because what's meant to be is what it's meant to be. And I tell my guys that adversity does two things. It makes the strong stronger and the weak weaker. And, we stayed strong and stayed together through it all. No one was pointing fingers. No one was down on the other guy. It's just something that happened, and we, people think, it's kind of at the end of our legacy, but we're not done yet. That's one of the hashtags that we had. We ain't done yet, and because I tell the guys, you keep the game close, I'll win it for you, and, when the game comes down to coaching, I don't see us far behind, I don't see us second if it came down to coaching, and so we're just waiting to get healthy, man, and get everybody back. I tell the guys, you got to be in charge of your own rescue too. That means in that classroom, you got to do what you're supposed to do, because no one's coming to save you in that classroom. You got to do it on your own. You got to be in charge of your own rescue, and so it keeps me motivated just because, they're motivated. I got motivated coaches, it's a basketball and it's bouncing. I'm around the game. It keeps me motivated because I'm able to stay in the game. I'm able to still think the game. I don't want to play it all. The guys ask me all the time. They say, Coach, some guys, my older guys and, people that played, that know me as a player, they say, Coach, what do you miss the game? I said, I tell you like this. The only part of the game I miss, and this is honest God truth, is running out of the locker room with my guys. When you first run on that floor, that adrenaline, that rush, you run out there with your guys, your teammates. I said, after that, sub me, Coach. You can have it. You can have the rest of it.
No doubt. I do want to ask you this. That's actually a great answer, man. People ask me the same thing, and I say, man, I just miss being with my brothers, man. And I still talk to guys here and there. But you said something, and I got a great feeling from you from watching you on the Kirk and Bird podcast, and even on my conversation a few weeks ago to prepare for this. You're a great motivator, and you have great insight. And you said something, and I was like looking at my phone. You couldn't see me. I said, "Wow." You said, "Hey, man, my guys don't do that social media stuff." I tell my players, we don't do that. Can you elaborate like that for people watching when they see this, when I run this, or they listen to it? What do you mean by that? Because social media seems to be a huge part. I mean, I share highlights of my son and kids I know in AAU or kids I'm trying to help get looks, or you just talking about more so like some of that lyrical stuff or some of that nonsense. What do you mean when you say my players know not to get involved in that?
We keep it positive. You know, I tell my guys keep it positive because the thing is, you know, social media is a great tool, a great positivity tool if you use it that way. It could be a great negativity tool if you use it that way. You know, people can go on and say things, you know, things about you online and things like that. You don't need to respond. Let them say. I see some of the things that, you know, people say about us and things like that. You know, I don't normally respond. You know, I said number one is you respond to the wrong person, and it people take it differently. Now when they see you out, it becomes an altercation.
Yep.
You know, and people, you know, I mean, we've seen the state of the world now, you know, as far as the teenagers and what they're going through and things like that. And we don't, you know, I don't want that for my kids, you know. And then I always tell them, you never know who's watching your social media. You know, when coaches recruiting you and things like that, they look at your social media. They want to see what type of person you are. They want to see what you say, what you quote, you know, how you react, you know, and things like that. And so keep it positive. You know, you let it, you know, I tell my guys what people call you doesn't matter. It's just what you answer to, you know, and so just, you know, whether we win sometimes, you know, I let them have fun. I've let them have fun sometimes when they post, like if we win and they post something like that, but it's never derogatory. We try not to make it derogatory and when people, you know, because and Jordan is up here. Jordan had posted something before, and I called Jordan and said, "Hey, take that down. You know, you got to take that down." You know, and he's done it. You know, and so we just you know, we just try to make it. You know, you're not just raising basketball players; you're raising young men. You know,
Yes.
and when you can't raise a young man acting like a young man, you know.
Yep.
And so you know, there are boundaries you have to set, you know, that for these kids and you know, and Jordan, Bryce and all them tell you I don't play around a lot with kids. You know, we got a kid that's real playful on our team. Sometimes I say, hey man, I don't have to play with kids. And they know what I'm talking about. I'm like, hey man, I don't play with kids, you know, and because I gave you a prime example right now, right? There's a situation going on in the Newport News where a security guard who's usually used to playing with the guys and a playful situation turned into a bad situation where he's lost his job, you know, and that's the result of, you know, just playing too much, you know, and we feel bad, you know. I know who he is and I feel bad about it, you know, but it was nothing. I don't think was intentional, but it happened. And so, you know, I just don't. There's a line I draw when it comes to, you know, playing with kids, and you know, because it's like I used to tell my the people about my sons, you know, and Jordan can tell you that, and James too can tell you they don't see me kick my biological kids out of practice.
Look, everybody nodding like, yeah,
get out, you know, and then my coaches, when they saw him the next day, they're like, man, I know you had it rough at home. And you know, they were like, what are you talking about? I said, man, you know, your dad kicked you out of practice, so he was upset. So I know when y'all got home, it was, and they were looking at him like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. And the reason being is when we get home, we don't talk basketball.
Great
rule. Yeah, we don't. If I'm coach, I can't be coach all the time, but I'm dad all the time. You know, so I tell them in the gym, and that was the same with my girls. You know, my girls played Division I basketball too. But I told them in the gym, I'm coach. At home, I'm dad. You know, and so the example I give is if you're working, you and your wife working, your wife is the boss. Y'all working, and you have a bad day at the office. You know, you had a bad week at the office. You bring the office home. You bring the office home. You bring the office home. Eventually, somebody ain't coming home. You know, and they're you know, because you know, home is you come home to recharge. You know, and I didn't want my kids thinking like, oh Lord, I gotta go home. You know, so And we came home that night. We were laughing, joking, and we got back in the gym the next day. It was like nothing happened.
That's great. That's good. I want to go back to the players on this one, man. We'll stick with this coach named Jordan. I'm going to start with you, then I'm going to go to you, James, and then you, Bryce. Tell everybody that's going to see this and that's watching, what kind of coach is Coach Strothers? I want the honest version. I don't need a hot take, but I mean, is he intense? Is he funny? And then this is a two-part question for each of you. What kind of coach is he, and how has he made you a better player and a better man?
Well, for me, he's been sometimes he's intense, but I know it's just because he want the best for us. Not even just basketball, outside of school. He just want us to make it at life as a good man in the world. So everything he does it to push us and gets us ready for the real world.
No doubt. And when you talked about intense, I know this is somewhat of a family-friendly episode, but you say intense. Is it like, Coach played in the era where you can't even do half the stuff like you can. I mean, it was a different time back when he played. And I'm not talking about like it was crazy. It was just intense. So what does that mean for you? When does it like, because, back in the day, they were coach that would probably would have grabbed your braids, right? So what does that mean for you when you say he's intense? Does he challenge you? Is it more so just in your own words? What does that mean?
Oh, for me, it's just like he'll yell, he'll get mad, throw his hat on the floor, get mad. But at the end of the day, I know that he just wants me to be the best man that I could possibly be. So it's all love for me.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, James, in your own words, man, how is Coach? In your own words, and how has he made you a better player and a man?
He's definitely intense, but it's all love at the end of the day. Like, he sees the potential in us. He just wants to see us reach that max potential. And I've seen that since sixth grade, since I've been with him. So definitely.
Since sixth grade?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a strong connection. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, so since grade you've seen that. It's all love.
Definitely. It's all love. That's all it's ever been.
That's a blessing, man. In the day and age y'all live in now, kids, blessed to receive this. I see kids making commitment videos and post to transfer schools. So that's pretty crazy, man. But that's good. Bryce, what about you? In your own words, Coach and your relationship and just his style.
Coach Strut, he's an intense coach, but he's a funny coach. He be saying some crazy stuff in practice, making everybody laugh. Nah, he a funny coach, but like he intense, but he's intense to make everybody better. He's trying to push everybody to be the best person they can be.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's good. You guys are very fortunate, man. I'll stick with you, Bryce. We're gonna stick with the players on this one as well. One thing I asked, the Hampton High girls and other players I've interviewed since basketball season, even in previous episodes, I'm curious. I don't need all the scouting reports, but in your own words, man, as a player, I know you're in recovery mode, but when you're on that court, what are some of your strong attributes? When I say I'm going to watch Bryce play and I know every game, no matter what, I'm going to get these things out of him. And then two-parter, what are some of the things you still got to get better at?
All right, the strong suits that I'm really strong at, rebounding. I say rebounding, I say slashing, I say shooting, 3-point, I say shooting. But the things I need to get better at is mid-range, boxing out, playing very deep. Because Menchville is like a defensive team.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's a game in the last handful of years or previous seasons where you're very proud of? Is there a game you're like, man, we played Hampton or we were playing this team and I was in my bag? Is there a game that always comes to mind? I can check the tape.
Menchville? I just came back to Menchville. I'll say a Walsingham game, and that's PC. I played PC, and I had like 30. I did everything good.
What was special about that game? Just because you had 30 or was because you were just in the zone?
No, I was just in the zone. Like I had steals, I got rebounds, I was dominant out to my teammates. I just did everything.
Gotcha. James, what is your attributes? What are some of the things that, when I watch you play and other people, opponents, or just a casual fan, and what are some attributes you have to get better at?
I think my strong suit's definitely shooting, all around hustle player, and I think just being vocal and interactive with the other guys on the court, I think is my strong suits. And I think things I got to work on is definitely, I think definitely handling the ball, definitely, but also as well as, I think being more I don't know the word for it, but I guess on the same level with the young guys and being more understanding, probably.
Hmm. Okay. Is there a game that comes to mind, being a senior? I know you have all this season ahead of you, and there's going to be games you want to step up, but there's a game from last year or any time of your career that you were like, you know what, if I can be like that every game, that's a game I was really. It could be a game where you had multiple rebounds. There a game you really just played well in that you reflect on?
Probably the sophomore year at Gloucester. Probably the one yeah.
Why Coach laugh? He looked up.
Yeah, he
Why?
knows the
Why
game I'm
is?
talking about.
What's that?
I went like 5 for 6 from 3 coming off the bench. So,
Ooh,
6 for 7.
yeah. 6 for look at Coach.
oh,
Coaches
yeah.
always know.
well,
6 for 7. That's good. So you shooting is one of the things you take pride on. You just got hot that night.
oh no, I take pride in it, definitely.
Where does that come from? I mean, is that something? Because some guys told me they can shoot and I go in and it's all glass.
I mean, Jordan Bryce can tell you, I never shot in 3rd grade. We've been playing together since 3rd grade. I hadn't started shooting the ball till 6th. So, I mean, it's just kind of came about.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I got the NFHS app, so I'm going to check y'all out. I already keep in touch and try to keep track of Menchville and other teams in the district. So now that I know this, I'm gonna definitely check. Jordan, same questions, buddy. Skill level, games, attributes. Talk about it.
For me, it's different. I pride myself more on the defensive side, because defense really wins games. So I pride myself to turn the defender, make the defender, keep one defender on the same side, not try to like gamble, but make the right decisions, just do that stuff like that and I haven't been taking charges, but but that's the important part of the game. So that's what I gotta do better at, taking charges, diving on the floor more, stuff like that.
Yeah, is there a game defensively you look back on? You say, you know what, I locked dude up.
2 years ago, playoff game, definitely Bethel. Woodside games over the years, stuff like that. Big games.
Right. Yeah. And what is something that into this season? I know you guys have already played, but this season, as the season progresses, what's something, even though I'm okay at this, I got to get better at?
Definitely 3-point shooting. I've been hitting some shots, but it's better to hit more than less. So definitely 3-point shooting.
No doubt. I understand that. Now, before I return to Coach, I'm going to ask you this. I love this question. I'll stay with you, Jordan. You guys all know that your coach was a legend and a hell of a player, right? Y'all all know that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we could get that fountain of youth, and like if this was the fountain of youth and we gave Coach the time machine like Back in the Future, so he could drink some water and be young again, could y'all strap him up? How would he fit in, yo? Now, I'll start with you.
Probably not. I'm not gonna lie to you. Probably not. Like, it'll be hard. It'll be difficult, but I always try my hardest, but it'll probably be
honesty is the best policy. Bryce, what about you?
Nah, he's gonna get his. I saw his film. Nah, he's gonna get his.
Okay, you did your homework.
Yeah. Nah, he's gonna score. I'm gonna try my best, but he's gonna score.
I love it. Okay, so y'all are with James, same thing?
Definitely.
Yeah. I respect this is the first time I've had players. So y'all did do your homework, because kids go get talking reckless, like, man, I strap Coach. So y'all do know.
It was a time at Boo Williams, man. We was playing. I think we was playing 2-on-2 or something. And he was killing us all off the glass, just killing us. I'm talking about everything off the glass, everything going in. So yeah, that's how I know he still got it.
Yeah, I'm glad, man, because listen, he was special, and you're talking about an era. Ooh, he played. I always tell people, sometimes take this the wrong way, because I respect everything you guys doing, but I always say that was a golden era, because coaches kind of stayed around longer. The district right now, I still think the PD is the toughest district, but that was a golden era, man. That great time. But I hope you guys continue that tradition. Coach, when you hear players talk about you and what you've done for them and helping them, I know you guys in the midst of right now a season focused on each game, but how does that make you feel, man?
Well, it makes you feel like you're doing something right. I've always been a player's coach, because in my career, every coach, and I've been blessed to put in been playing for, been able to play for players, coaches, and because it makes a difference. When you hear that the guys talking about shootings, or one of the things that they will tell you, I'll pull you if you don't shoot the ball.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I'll pull you if you don't shoot the ball. Because I say you're playing for the other team.
Good point.
And they're now. The flip side of that is, if I don't see you working on 3-point shots, jump shots, whatever, don't come in my game practicing. You practice in practice, and then you bring to the game what you've been practicing, But I try to give them as much confidence to be themselves as possible. There are times, I might have to get in your shirt a little bit, but I never hold a shouting match or a corrective rod for more than 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and I move on. Because I tell the guys, we can't focus on that play. We got to go on to the next play. I say what I need to say. If you see something different, then you pull me to the side, coach. That's not how I saw it. But if I'm getting at you and you come back at me, then that's it. At that moment, it can be taken differently. So, and I always ask the guys, what do you see then? And help me see what you see, because I'll tell you in a minute that shit you just saw or did, I don't know what the hell you were looking at, So, but then if you can explain it, I'm like, okay, I didn't see that, but all right, I'll let that go. Okay. But I mean, it always feels good, man, because I told people before, when I first coached at Warwick, my first year at Warwick, we were 1-21.
Really?
We were 1-21. And I started the season with 16 kids. And there were other teams like Gloucester, other teams that had a losing record in the district. When they and even teams that knew that they weren't going to make the playoffs or whatever, those guys, when we played them late, they had 6 guys, 7 guys, guys dropping off the team, guys quitting, things like that. At the end of my season, I had 18 kids. I started with 16, but at the end I had 18. No one left. Everyone was still engaged. Why? Because they knew, for one, I had their best interest. And for two, I give everybody the same attention. I try to anyway, until Daryl takes me off, then we gotta, they know who I'm talking about, Daryl. But
is Daryl your assistant?
No.
Okay, all right.
Daryl's the second best player on the team. And so, but I, we try to give everybody the same attention, and and I preach unity, and teamwork and things like that. And you're only as good as the last player. But I use that team as an example, because it was easy for them to quit, and get upset, and your pride gets in the way. And one of the things I tell them, it's okay to lose your pride for something you love, but don't lose something you love because of your pride. And so, we embrace that, we embrace each other. And when you hear them, hear the guys kind of reiterating that and regurgitating that, you're doing something positive.
Yeah. Coach, when I had Eric Brown on here a few weeks ago and his point guard Malik, he was talking about, he agreed with me when talking about how tough the district is. The great thing about having a really tough district is, outside of an out-of-conference game you schedule to see how your players respond, whether it be at home or on the road, when your district is good, it makes for a better preparation for that postseason district tournament and regional and possibly states, that run you want to make. And I've always loved, especially the Peninsula District. I still, even though I'm old and gray now, I remember those games, Menchville and Warwick. I mean, Coach Moore at Warwick, man, and Denby had Catufus, and it was crazy, especially when you had Hampton and Newport schools going at it, man.
And Coach Henderson at Menchville.
Yeah. I mean, so talk about it now. Obviously you guys already played Woodside once. and that's a rivalry game. And who are some of the teams that I know some of you've already played, but just some of the games this year that you got they're going to be a challenge, and it's always going to be a good game, and a measuring stick game.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to put that in sequence like that, because at any given night, I mean, other than Denby has been rebuilding and Gloucester, other than that, man, you can, and if you don't come to play, you can lose.
Yep.
I mean, with Woodside, I don't see it as a rivalry because I'm not from here. I think Steph has done a good job of creating that as a rivalry because we're the measuring stick. We beat them more than they beat us. And so it's always a good game. I like Steph because Steph gets his guys, riled up. I think, but it can kind of go both ways. It's a thin line that you're treading, but it's gonna be a hype game because we've been the best two teams. Kickertown was in that running, 2 years ago, and then Kickertown was almost in the same scenario we were in. They didn't have injuries though. We had injuries, and we beat them. They went on a 20-game winning streak, and we played them at the Scope, and we beat them. And but we beat them. I mean, we had them down 24, at one point. But I mean, the coaches themselves brings different challenges every game because each coach is different. Wherein I like to get up and down some, but I also, depends on who we playing, like to play control. I run a control break for the most part. And a lot of, like Steph likes to dribble drive, you got to defend that. Kickertown with Campbell, he's gonna get his guys charged up, to play hard. We have a thing at Menchville, we call it, FTF and DYJ, which is do your job and first to the floor, and we get on you, that ball is loose, so Kickertown gonna hit that floor, Heritage is gonna hit that floor, Woodside's gonna hit that floor, so Bethel's gonna hit that floor, and then when we come to town, everybody's gonna hit the floor. It's just what it is. We've been on top of the district, out of one of the top teams in the district for the last 6 years, and when we play, everybody, everybody's gonna bring their best, and and then like with E, E is my guy. E and I talk a lot. What E's going to do is you have to come prepared to play against E because he's gonna control you. He does a good control job. His kids run their stuff. He does a good job of preparing for on film. I watch film, but I don't always let my kids watch film because what happens today is kids get caught up in social media. So you watching film and you seeing this guy doing it, and then they go like, "Oh man, we about to play." And
I was wondering. I was going to ask you when Jordan was talking about playing defense. I was going to ask you, do y'all do film? Because guys that usually want to play defense take pride. They watch a lot of tape, or they know tendencies. I didn't know how you handled that.
Yeah, I might talk about it in practice, but a lot of times I might watch us play, and see where our breakdowns are. But a lot of times I don't watch the other team play because, you got a Jordan and James and a Bryce. They may not take that and say, oh man, he's good. I don't want to, those guys gonna be like, hey, let's get after it. But the younger guys be like, man, I ain't going out there and get sauce, and so you have to balance that. And I'm like, okay, let me talk about it, because I can break it down and see it and say, okay, when we get in practice, this is what we're going to do. And then once we play them, win or lose, we may watch the film. But beforehand, I don't watch a lot. I watch the film, but I don't get them to sit down and watch a lot of film all the time.
No doubt. Just a few more questions, and I appreciate you guys jumping on, but we'll be done. But I'm gonna go back to the players. Jordan, I'll start with you, man. Being at Menchville and being a senior, all of you guys being part of this program, what is Menchville basketball? You know, Coach talked about how you guys have been a team with a target on your back and everybody checks for y'all. And I knew that before I had you guys on, which is one reason I wanted to have you on. But when someone says, you know, oh yeah, Menchville plays at Tuesday night at this time, or they play this weekend, what are people going to expect when they see Menchville play? What is Menchville basketball?
Intensity. You know, we always get after it no matter who we're playing at all times. We just get after it, play the hardest we can play. And we have family, so we're going to try to get the guys to do the same thing we're trying to do, you know, get after it and just get gritty.
Yep, no doubt. What about you, James? What is Menchville basketball?
Definitely echoing family, but I think it's relentless. Like Coach always says, no matter the score on the scoreboard, just keep playing. I think that's night in, night out. That's just Menchville.
Mm-hmm. Bryce?
Just like what Jordan said, and James, family, but like intensity. They always gonna see a show. They always gonna see us go 100%.
How was practice though, Bryce? Because you got Jordan up here. I know everyone's not on this podcast tonight, but one thing I love when I talk to guys, they talk about, yo, we get out there and practice. Practice sometimes coach has to separate us, or you know, we get to talking. I know it's all love because y'all are brothers, but like iron sharpens iron. Do y'all kind of get into it at practice? Like, are you sometimes like, yo, coach, put him on the other side so I can lock his ass up? You know, does it get like that sometimes?
Sometimes, but sometimes, but we always go after. We always trying to sharpen iron. We always trying to get better every day. But sometimes I can't guard him because he's like the guard. I be guarding other people.
I know. I need if it was a switch or something. You know,
he always want to switch every time I guard him. But we'll talk about it.
Man, practice be so we'll go after it in practice, but coach will never let it get to a point like we're throwing fists. Like we'll always get after it, talk, argue, whatever. Because iron, like you said, iron sharpens iron. But we'll never let it get to the physical point. But we'll get after it no matter what.
Mm-hmm. James, you know, you seem like you chill, laid back. Like it doesn't matter to me what y'all do. Like, what's your thoughts on what is Menchville basketball like as far as like the practices?
It's definitely intense, and I think I'm the mediator. Honestly, I'll get into it when I get upset, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, I just make sure we're all still brothers and it's all love. But
yeah, no doubt, man.
Hey, Dwight, let me tell you a quick story. So I had to leave practice one day. We were practicing over at Boo, and I had to leave practice one day. And so I told Miss Williams, I said, "Hey, Miss Williams, keep an eye on them. They're supposed to do they're supposed to be doing the Vertimax, and they're supposed to do the frogs." And she said, "Okay, I got them." And so when I got back, Miss Williams said, "I don't think they did the Vertimax." I said, "Okay." She said, "I was looking." She said, "I don't remember them." So I walk in, and so my son, my baby boy, the ones at App State, that was his junior year, I believe, right? Or was his
sure.
Yeah, that was yeah. So I walk in, I said, "Hey, did y'all do the Vertimax?" And then Jordan, all them, yeah. I go around, yeah, you do. I said, "Y'all do the Vertimax?" Yeah. I went over to James. I said, "James, did y'all do the Vertimax?" "No, coach." If you would have saw their faces, I couldn't even get mad, man. I said, "You know what? Y'all know James not gonna lie, you know." Yep. And then when they saw me ask James, they already knew, like, "Oh, we in trouble."
I got a feel for that. You know, I could tell James was that guy, man. That's a good thing, though. That's a good attribute. Coach, you know, you were talking to me, like I said, a few weeks ago. We were talking about, you know, you building a program and you being, you know, focused on getting the best out of your guys and not just winning, but just like helping them become complete young men. One thing I know is important to quite a few players is having the opportunity, if they're academically and athletically worthy, to play at the next level, man. Just really quickly highlight some of your guys, including your sons, that have made it to the next level. I'm always intrigued by that because I think a lot of people say, oh, they got a scholarship or they walked on, they're playing here. But, you know, helping guys excel on and off the court, to me, is what a program means. You know, I know it's not your job to get them there, but you do help put them in position. Just talk about some of your guys you've helped get to the next level. I know it's a lot, but just highlight them really quickly.
Ooh,
Well, just some. I mean, because again, I know
yeah.
you have a lot, or even just some of the
So
schools that you've helped kids get into.
I you know, over the past, I would say since I've been coaching here. Well, I mean, if you go all the way back to Bethel with Bill Weaver, um,
Mm-hmm.
Paul Meredith,
Yep.
uh, then with Warwick High School, Darius Conley, uh,
Mm.
then Amir Nesbitt, who's over at um, Hampton University, Chauncey Jenkins, who's over at ODU. Of course, my sons, one's at East Tennessee, which you can see in the background there. One's at
Yep.
East Tennessee, and one's at Appalachian State. Their brother, the twins' brother, Mike Watlington, he's at EMU. Nismith, Marcus Nismith, he's at Shenandoah. Who am I missing, guys? Y'all know.
Jason.
Jason, he's at Division II in Pennsylvania. AJ Clark, he's at VMI.
Nice.
Yo.
Gil, who's at Norfolk State. It's just the name. So of course my daughter
All right,
plays.
man. No, that's fine. That's good. You've already exceeded the question. That's
Yeah,
pretty impressive, man. Because you and I were talking, and I went and looked some stuff up, and I said, yeah, he was not exaggerating. That's a lot of kids, man. And I
yeah,
do that because sometimes, especially in this day and age with Twitter and Instagram, people, oh, he went to Duke, he went to Kentucky. I don't think young men and women realize that play sports is like you get to the next level. That's a rarity. I didn't realize that until I got to Virginia Tech. Like, man, I played against and with some very good players. Only a handful of us got to the next level.
right. No
So
question.
that's really good. Before we wrap up, Coach, I know this is just a few of your players. Is there a player or two? I know they're not on here that you want to highlight. Maybe it's an up and coming player people are going to know about as this season progresses. Not to give away your secrets, just want to shout out a couple of players that this kid's been working hard. I can see him as the season goes, or next year is going to be his time. Is there a player or two you want to highlight?
I'm sure the guys up here would say Cameron Strange. He's I mean, we got a host of other guys, but Cameron Strange I've told people before, he's going to be that X factor. He knows he has a nose for the ball. He's a quiet worker, and he's probably a chemist. No, you know. But Aiden Weaver, another guys who's going to contribute. Christian Robertson, DJ Banks. He's trying to get himself back to where he was, because he's a very, very, very intense player. Jabron Briggs, those guys, Nas, John, Nasir, Jamal. I mean, those guys, man, they put in a lot of hours, and but Cam is starting to emerge as one of those guys that you got to pay attention to when he's on the floor. Because he gets timely steals, hands on loose balls. He's like, if he hit the floor though, it might be it for a couple of weeks, but. Oh no, he took a good fall in one game at our place, and he got was it our place? Yeah, it was at our place, and that was a Warwick game, I believe, and he got back up. We thought we were to run on the floor for him. Yeah.
Coach, this has been a great honor, man. Like I told you, man, I was very excited to get you and some of your players on, man. Thank you, gentlemen, for jumping on. Before I sign off, I want to ask you this question, Coach. I'm always intrigued by this, especially when I get a chance to talk to a great basketball mind, a great leader like yourself. What has the game of basketball taught you as a man, as a coach? Because you have a lot of insight. You can't do what you've done at a high level and been around the game as long as you have around some of the greatest players to ever touch the basketball, men and women. You've seen some talents in your day, but I know in talking to you and talking to people that know you, you're very highly regarded and respected. With that being said, you can't be in your position as a leader without those life lessons. What has the game taught you as a person, as a coach?
Well, it goes a ways back. But one of the things I will tell people, you can't be an effective leader if you don't know how to follow. You know, you have to learn from somebody, you know, and I've learned from, you know, different coaches that has crossed my path, you know. But one of the things that I teach my kids, you know, just about just being a person when it comes to coaching and just coming, you know, in life itself. You know, one of the quotes I tell them, you know, everyone has a condition and a circumstance, you know, whether you poor, whether you know, whatever, you know, they have some type of you know, circumstance. And I always say a man is always anxious to improve, to change his circumstance or his conditions, but he's unwilling to improve himself. You know, before you can go out and before I could go out and be that effective leader with my guys, I had to improve myself. And I had to change. Because I had more of a player's mentality, where, you know, like my oldest son, you know, my wife, you know, he has, you know, I give them the difference between Etienne and Allen. Allen is the younger me, chip on your shoulder, you know, don't take no shit, you know, all that, you know, you get to sneezing because you're allergic to bullshit, you know, and then, but Etienne is the older me, you know, became the business guy, you know, and like that, you had to be more personable and things like that. And so those are the difference between my guys. And I tell them, you know, we live life through 4 agreements, you know, and those agreements is, 1, be impeccable with your word. 2, don't make any assumptions. 3, always don't take anything personally. And then always do your best. Those are 4 agreements that I get on them about. And so in doing that, you know, and understand that those things, you know, in this game help me understand and deal with all those things itself. But the biggest thing that I teach them that helps them on the court and in life, that this whole life, this thing that you call life, is all based on the value system. Everything is based on the value system. I don't care how you look at it. The money is based on the value system. You know, your job is based on the value system. How you be played on the court is based on the value system. You know, and you know, you got guys who they get upset because coach not playing them. Oh, why he's playing him and not playing me? You could be the same exact player, but it's something about that player that the coach values over you. So the thing is not to get upset about it. It's to find out what it is and match it, and make the coach say, make that coach can't put you on the floor. We got to have him on the floor, you know. And it could be a little thing. It could be in the last 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you're not sure-handed, so we can't keep you on the floor. You know, you take too many chances, you know, so we can't keep you on the floor, you know. And that whole value system changed my outlook overseas, because I explained this to the guys before. When I was overseas, when I first went overseas, I came from the NBA, but there were guys over there making more money than I was, and they hadn't played a day in the NBA. And I figured out what that was. I was angry. So, but then I realized, even though I came from the league, I still had that D3 label, you know, and because it's not like I played a lot of games in the league, but I was there. I was on a championship caliber team. Then the next year I went to Dallas and so forth. But however, those guys that were there, like the Rodney Monroes and, you know, those guys, Gerald Patios and all those guys, they made more money. And I'm figuring out, okay, so I realized what it was the value system. They valued the D1 guy over the D3 guy, regardless of where I came from. So I had to show them that I had to change that whole value system, let them see D3 before they see D1. So, you know, my whole outlet of how I went about changed, and doing that, and I was able to recognize that early. And doing that, everything changed. My paycheck changed, my address changed, the way I flew overseas changed, went from coach to first class, you know, and things like that. So, you know, everything is based on this value system. This game has taught me to teach kids about the value system, and to, you know, to value every minute that you have to work. Because every day, I tell them, every day you should do something that's predicated or dedicated to getting better in your craft every day, whether it's reading, Was it watching film, watching the games, dribbling the basketball? It doesn't have to be in the gym all the time, but you have to do something that makes you better at your craft.
No doubt. Well, Coach, you are teaching, and these three gentlemen and their teammates are learning and listening, man. And I appreciate you guys for jumping on. This has been one of my better legacy podcasts. You guys have been a lot of fun. I'll continue to watch and support you guys from up here in the 703. Continue to have great success. Praying for a healthy remaining of the season. Bryce, get better. Stay locked in. Coach, I appreciate you taking time. I know you got things to do. Gentlemen, work hard. Listen to this guy. I can't wait to have y'all back on, man. I like to have great guests back on because, Coach, you're right. I don't know which one of y'all said it is a funny guy. He's a great storyteller too. He's a funny guy, man. So I can't wait to hear about more of that intensity.
We have to do that off camera.
Yeah, but thank y'all guys so much, man. And listen, everybody, continue to support these young men in the Peninsula District and the 7-5 and throughout the state, man. Also, man, make sure you subscribe to this channel to see more great interviews like Menchville, Coach Strothers, and his players, man. We have a lot of great guests on, man. So hit that subscribe button. And like I say every episode, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, make sure you have a positive impact and you leave a great legacy. That's Vicktory Life. I'm Dwight Vick. On behalf of the Menchville Basketball and Athletic Department, I appreciate everybody for jumping on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.